I was pretty excited going into this one. I knew that it was the last episode before the Daleks took their several-year hiatus, and I had heard quite a few good things about it, and I was interested to see what was in store for me. And upon checking it out, I couldn't help but find myself slightly disappointed. And don't get me wrong, it was a good episode. It has some clever things and some elements I quite liked. I just left this story feeling as though most of the episode didn't do a lot. It's possible I had too high of expectations when going into this one, but I don't think that was particularly the case because I was more just interested to see what was in store as opposed to having particularly high expectations for the story itself. So let's first discuss what I did like about this episode. The Doctor is really good in this one, as you would expect. There is no reason he would be anything less. I like the ending to this story. The way that he finds a solution to the Dalek problem is surprisingly quite clever, and I really liked that. Also, it was probably smart to put the Daleks out of commission for a few years at this point, considering how frequently they had been used in recent years, sometimes to great effect and other times not so much. Jamie is still a really good companion. I find myself really enjoying his interactions with the people he meets because he has some strong opinions and he often has quite a lot to say, but he also just has quite a fun presence, which I just enjoy a lot. Also, we are introduced to Victoria in this one, but she doesn't get a lot to do, so I'll talk about her in the next episode. I like how this story takes place in a couple of different times, not in each episode, but early on it makes a switch to the past, and I enjoy that it is not set entirely in the present or what was the present when this story was made. Also, I forgot to mention, but this story is unfortunately mostly missing, so my thoughts are based on the audio and the footage that exists from this episode, which is episode 2. I look forward to whenever this story hopefully does get animated because, as I have discovered specifically with the Macra Terror, yeah, you are really missing something when you're not seeing the story, and of course the animations are never going to be completely true to the original broadcast, and I'm totally okay with that, but I am looking forward to when this one does get an animation because I would like to see it visually, and I think I just enjoy stories more that way, so keep in mind when I do review an episode that is mostly missing, it might just partly come down to the fact that I can't see it, and that somehow takes it away from me because it's not intended for this medium. It's hard for me to really know these things. Specifically, it's hard for me to know how much of a story I am losing because I can't experience it visually. I just want to throw that out there that it's possible I'll like this story even more when I do get the chance to see it, assuming it does get an animation. It's one of the ones I would most like to see animated, specifically because I didn't enjoy it quite as much as I wanted to, even though I liked the story. This is the point in the video where I will say spoiler warning. If you haven't seen this episode, then skip to the time as shown on screen to avoid the spoilers. With all of that said, let's continue. We also get to meet the Dalek Emperor for the first time, and that's pretty cool. As somebody who watched New Who first, it's interesting to see all of these things pop up in Classic Who that I just didn't know were there, so that was cool to see. I didn't feel like he particularly did a lot, but I don't think he ever really does, so yeah, he was fine. I enjoyed seeing him, although of course, I didn't actually see him, I just heard him. So there is some really interesting stuff and some stuff that works well, but not everything. So in this story, the Daleks decide that they want to get the best human elements and combine it with themselves to make Daleks even better than they already are because humans have continually defeated them, although it was mainly the Doctor. I don't really like this as a story element. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me personally, and I feel like the Daleks would know that, but it wasn't that big of a deal. I was able to roll with it, and yeah, this has been done in New Who. I didn't really like it there either. I just don't really like the idea of Daleks trying to combine themselves with humans. It doesn't particularly make sense to me because they are very much about them being the superior race and destroying humans. And on some level, I get it. I get wanting to use humans to your advantage, but because the Daleks believe themselves to be so superior and the way that they always act towards humans, it's just hard for me to really buy this as a story element. But as said, I was able to just get past it and enjoy the rest of the episode for what it was, but this was an aspect that I wasn't particularly happy with. So when they do eventually manage to do that, what they do with the Daleks is kind of strange. In terms of how the story is playing out, it makes sense to me, but it made the Daleks very childish, which to me couldn't help but remove any sort of fear factor that the Daleks have, which is unfortunate. The main problem for me is that this episode goes on for 7 parts, and if you ask me, it's about 3 parts too long. I really think this episode should have been significantly shortened. It just felt like it was wasting a lot of time, particularly early on. The first episode doesn't do much at all. It's not bad, it just doesn't contribute much to the story. I just found myself coming away from this feeling that this episode had wasted quite a bit of my time. There were some really good elements, but they were somewhat bogged down, which is a shame because I think this one really could have been a great one. And if you love this one, that's great, and I have no issues with that, and you can feel welcome to tell me why you do, because I am interested in why people do really like this story. I wish I liked it more, but I just don't. Overall, this is a solid, if imperfect, episode. I enjoyed quite a few elements, even if I did find that it wasted some time and some parts didn't work too well. It is a good story, even if one I won't be revisiting anytime soon, and I'm going to give The Evil of the Daleks a rating of 7.75 out of 10. If you join me soon, I should have a review/overview out for Season 4 as a whole. I'm interested in discussing this one particularly because it is kind of unique in that it switches a Doctor a couple of episodes in. After that, I should have a ranking for the season, and followed by that will be the Tomb of the Cybermen review. So I'm hoping that the Season 4 overview/review will come out on Sunday. Might be a tiny bit late, might see it Monday, but I am hoping to get it out Sunday, and then I am trying to do 2 of these Classic Who videos a week at least. And yeah, hopefully that goes all right. Be sure to let me know if you have any thoughts about this episode, The Evil of the Daleks. And that's about all I have to say for now. I hope to see you around soon for more videos, but if not, that's totally cool. Just know that I appreciate your time here today. And with that said, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and have a lovely week.